All right, guys, welcome back to the DM and Friends. I am DM Angelo, and today we're continuing our series on pressure in the dungeon crawl. It's a collaborative series with Eric Tenkar. We've been doing this every Monday. And if you've been following along, you already know that the old school dungeon exploration wasn't dangerous because of just monsters, right? It was dangerous because the game, constantly apply pressure to the players, right? We talked about light pressure, when the torch runs low, right? We talked about time pressure, right? When in the form of wandering monsters, right? We talked about system pressure, with the dynamics of turns, right? Which all that kind of goes is related to, right? We talked about decision pressure, with doors, right? We talked about information pressure, stop, listen, and learn, right? Listening before acting. We talked about living world pressure, right? Reaction rolls. And last time we talked about combat pressure, in the form of morale, right? How monsters, don't always need to fight to the death, right? But today we're talking about something that many modern players have never really even experienced, right? And I've seen this at a lot of tables, and that's navigation pressure, right? And the mechanics behind navigation pressure is what? It's mapping, 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 mapping. And if you grew up playing old school D&D, you probably remember graph paper, right? Graph paper. This was gold back in the day. This is a map of scenario that I ran for my campaign called the Cairn of the Red Pearl. You probably remember pencils. You probably remember racers, and you also remember that one poor soul, that one player at the table trying to keep everyone alive by drawing corridors, right? And trust me, if the map was wrong, people noticed. So I want to talk about the modern assumption, right? Now let's be honest. A lot of modern players assume the dungeon is always understandable, right? You have digital maps, you have virtual tabletops, you have fog of war, you have battle maps, you have miniatures, you have terrain, you have, everything is visual, right? Everything is clear. You know exactly where you've been. You know exactly where you're standing. Yeah, but in old school dungeon crawling, it didn't work like that, right? Players didn't automatically know the layout of the land. They had to earn that knowledge, and that meant someone had to map. So why did mapping exist, right? One player, usually the most patient person at the table, would become the mapper. And last one memorable person that I know in our group, his name was Robert, and he was so good at just uh, asking for the description and drawing it out in stick figure type layout, and it worked. The dungeon master, me, would describe the corridor, right? 30 feet forward, 10 feet east, door to the right, stairs going down. And that player would sketch it out really quick. I've seen people do it with graph paper, very, very trying to get it very right, or just a little stick figures, like I was talking with Robert would do it, and it worked very well. Hallway by hallway, right? Turn by turn. And here's the important part: the map wasn't guaranteed to be accurate because the players, they were building it in real time, based on incomplete information. The best description from the DM. Sound familiar? That's pressure. That is navigation pressure at its greatest, right there. So why does this create pressure, right? So why does the map matter, right? Because getting lost underground is terrifying, right? Especially when you're running low on torches, or you're running low on hit points, or your spells are almost gone, and wandering monsters checked. The DM's actually doing wandering monsters. Now imagine the party. They're going to realize something, right? The map doesn't make sense. The corridor should have been north and it was left, or north when it was south. The corridor doesn't make sense on our map, right? But with some, now what? Now what do we do? And hopefully they had chalk with them and they were putting marks. How I do it as a DM is, if they say I'm going to mark this corner I'll get it on my map behind the screen, and I'll put a check there. So if they do kind of get lost, I can state, oh, they're walking on. Oh, there's a mark you see on the, and they can put two and two together, right? So that moment, when they say now what, it changes the energy at the table immediately, right? Because suddenly the players are going to realize that, oh wait, oh my God, we may not get out in time, and of course that is pressure at a totally different level than I think modern games even experience, right? So I want to talk about the mapper, right? I want to talk about the mapper. The mapper wasn't just drawing lines on a piece of graph paper, right? The mapper was helping the party survive, right? That job was super important in the group. There was usually a caller, a mapper, and the supporting cast, right? That was a very specific role that we had at the table. The mapper was totally helping them survive, right? That job 100% mattered. And if the mapper missed a turn, forgot a door, or misheard, the hallway, the consequences were real. And maybe the party wastes time, or maybe they walk in circles, or maybe they burn through torches more. Maybe more wandering monsters catch them, and maybe they never take it back. That's why players paid attention. I mean, one thing too is huge is it really increases engagement, from the group, because one person's mapping and the other ones are kind of verifying. Hey, no, that doesn't look right, So there's so many different levels. It's not only does it add pressure, but it also really increases engagement at your table. So the dungeon becomes unknown again, right? So mapping did something incredibly important, right? It made the dungeon feel mysterious also, right? Unpredictable, dangerous, because the dungeon wasn't just a map on the screen, right, that we're looking at, right? It was something the place that they had to understand. It was explored, it was learned, sometimes even feared, right? Oh, this might, and when players don't fully understand the environment, that level of mystery is another level of pressure. I mean, they move differently. They're gonna react totally different to this, versus having it up on the screen, in the big TV screen above the gaming table, right? They're gonna move differently. They're gonna slow down. They're gonna listen. They're gonna pay attention to descriptions. They're gonna argue less. They're gonna huddle up to verify what they're writing on the graph paper. They think harder. They collaborate more. Because every wrong turn is going to matter now. So why DMs should care about this, right? Now, if you're a dungeon master, and chances are you are, this totally matters, because mapping forces the players to engage with the environment. They start paying attention to your descriptions. They start asking better questions. They care about details. Suddenly your dungeon becomes more than a series of rooms, right? It becomes a place. It becomes an environment. And that changes the whole game. And I guarantee you, if you are not having your players map, dude, do it. It will blow your mind, because it just brings your game to another level, 100%. So how does this connect with the series? Yeah, I mean, if you take nothing out of this and you're not having your players map, and you're all around, I know online it's super tough, but if you have a face-to-face game, have them map. I guarantee you will be blown away as a dungeon master, and as players, how different the dynamic of the table is, and how different the feel is. So we're getting to the end here. So I want to talk about how this connects to the series, right? Because this has been an awesome series, Pressure in the Dungeon Crawl. And this fits perfectly with everything that we've talked about in the series. Perfectly. And I can't stress, this is like one of the last and one of the best things that you could add to your table. Light pressure says what? The resources are going to be running out. right? Not only light, but food, and it's resource pressure, right? Time pressure does what? Something might find us, wandering monsters around here. We got to do this efficiently and not necessarily quickly, but the more we stay down here, the more bad things are going to happen, right? Decision pressure says what? Choose carefully, right? Information pressure says what? Gather clues, stop, listen, and learn, right? Combat pressure says what? It says even fights are unstable, right? Mapping pressure says you better know how to get back out, right? That's old school dungeon crawling, right? And that's why it's old school Dungeons and Dragons feels more dangerous. 100%. So, in closing, okay, so if you've never used player mapping in your games, try it, man. I guarantee you it's going to just change the way things happen at your table. Even once, put away the battle map. Put it away. Who needs it? Who needs it in old school? And even in, if it's just for an encounter, bring out the map. But getting from encounter to counter or situation to situation, get rid of it. You don't need to show the hallways and all that. Let them think about it in their mind and actually interpret it onto a piece of graph paper. Pick that graph paper up. Describe the corridors to them, right? Let the players build the dungeon themselves, right? And when they realize that they are lost, roll with it. You'll see exactly why mapping used to matter. All right, you guys, man, everybody, if you are enjoying this Pressure in the Dungeon Crawl series, make sure that you like, subscribe, share it with other lovers of gaming. And also, in 100%, make sure you comment and tell me if you if you have a mapper at your table. Tell me how you do it. Tell me what your experience has been like. I think, man, I can't wait to hear the comments, because mapping to me is one of my biggest loves and ways of adding just that real feel to the game. It really is. It takes it to a freaking totally different level. And I love to hear you guys' experiences in it, because I know a lot of people do it, and I know a lot of people don't. And I know that we used to it was just a part of the game back in the day when we started playing and when we played through early on. Somehow it kind of got lost. And I think it's because of the digital age. I think it's because of the fact that it just became easier to just throw up a battle map, or just to put stuff on the screen, or roll 20. I mean, how do you do that with roll 20? I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can. You could set up Fog of War and take it out. I mean, I don't even know if you can. I'd love to hear that too. But yeah, face-to-face old school gaming. Pull out that freaking piece of graph paper and put it down, or have them bring their own pad. So anyways, all right, as always, you guys, this has been so much fun. Take care, you guys. Be good to each other. Keep rolling those dice. Keep gaming. Bye-bye.